nice surprise. So, hey guys, it's Mike at Sapulpa Times.
And Lucy with the City of Sapulpa.
Welcome back, everybody. It is midway through the week here. It's a lot going on. We're talking about broken phones and city council and all kinds of good stuff. When we're talking about broken phones, we're talking about me breaking my phone. I've not even had it a week, and I have to get the screen repaired, guys. This things I do. Okay, I'm telling you. But I'm going right after we get done with the show today. I'm heading to Tulsa Hills to get it done.
Perfect.
So, we've got some pretty cool and serious stuff to talk about today. Let's get it started with Monday's city council meeting. Actually, no. Before we do that, let's talk about the water main thing because I know you've got something going on with that, right? Let me make sure I got that. Yeah. So the big water main replacement happening
Yes.
in a couple of weeks, I
So
think. Or
next week on Thursday, there will be some road closure. There's some work going on. They're estimating about 12 hours of shut off. They'll start about 7 a.m. So if you need a shower on the 14th, I suggest you get up early, and then that water will be off. So we have put that information out. We received confirmation this morning that it is going to happen on the 14th. And so we've sent some reminders out on our Facebook page as well as through our notifier for our apps. And then we will go ahead and update all of that again next week to remind everyone that it is coming. And so they are going to do an entire mainline repair. So they are going to be expanding that water line in order to get more water to that area.
this would be the 600 to 800 block, I think, is what it said. Is
Yes,
that right?
I think it's
5, 6, 7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
Um, that would be the entire like Main Street Plaza there, if I'm not mistaken, with Little Caesars and I remember that because the address to Dancing Skeleton is 602B South Main.
Okay, then yes.
Okay, so uh, might not get Subway for a while. I'm assuming it's going to knock out water for those businesses.
Yeah, so based on the blast that we put out today, there is going to be water disruption, and so businesses, residential, everyone will be affected on that day.
Okay. On either side of Maine, or do you know how far down or anything like that? Okay,
No.
because this is the main, so it's going to affect.
Yeah, so we put it on Facebook and I put it out there, but I don't really understand all of the verbiage, if we're being totally honest.
They told her what to put.
They did. They told me exactly what to put. They said, "Can you please post this word for word?" And I said, "Yes." And so yeah, it's the 567 block south of Main Street and South Water. And so there will be an evacuation and prep, and then they will relocate the line on the next day on the 15th. So there will be an outage on the 15th, about 12 hours. We will start at 7 a.m. It'll be businesses and residential. They will experience a full outage. So we are hoping to get it done maybe a little quicker, potentially not. It just kind of depends on what they find and when they get in there and all of that.
But right now they're expecting one 12-hour a day of no
Mhm.
water. Okay, so that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be a multi-day type thing.
Oh, no, no, no.
Okay,
So they'll start taking everything out on the 14th. And so you will see prep work starting and all of that, but there will be no water disruption until 7 a.m. on the 15th.
okay. Well, that hopefully should make you guys feel better. But if you do your shopping or anything down in that part of town, or you live over there,
Mhm.
then just keep that in mind. That's something. The 14th you said is when the prep work starts, and it actually happens the 15th.
Yes. So
Okay,
that'll be
so about
Friday.
9 days from now. So make your preparations or whatever. I don't know. Get your pizza ahead of time. Uh, okay, so the other thing, the thing that I wanted to start with on Monday is I missed this meeting. I wasn't able to be there, but it was the swearing in for the new city councilors. Well, a new city councilor, and then the others retained those seats. So, 4 out of the 5 here, you will recognize that David Mortazavi, Mayor Craig Henderson. We've got the new guy, Councilman Leroy Harrison
Mhm.
for Ward 3. And then we've got Vice Mayor Carla Gunn and Elizabeth Nicholas from Ward 1.
Mhm.
And Leroy is the new guy. He's the only one who basically overturned that seat. And from what you told me, seemed like he was happy to be there, I
Yeah,
guess. Yeah.
he was very excited. They came in early and kind of introduced themselves to anyone they hadn't met yet. And then he seemed to be all smiles as he took his seat and swore in.
Good. That's good. The other thing, okay, so before we get into the meat of today's show, which I know if you're watching, you're probably wondering what's going on about fireworks. I do have one thing I want to get out there before we do that. It is this, I want to remind everybody about the free cleanup day happening this weekend, Creek County Free Dump Day. We've done these, they've done them a few years now, several years. So yard clippings, limbs, furniture, mattresses, batteries, electronics, tires. That, I mean, and also electronic tires, I think, if you have those. I don't know what those are. Okay. Household items, things like that. If you need to get rid of them, they're going to have plenty of space there. Well, maybe not plenty. If you're super late to the show, to that event, getting there, they may be full because I've done that before.
Yeah.
That happened to me a couple times. They do not take grease, flammables, dirt, paint, or rock. Um, and probably they don't take painted rocks. I'm just going to keep that joke going as long as I can. That'll be on Saturday, May 9th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. or until full. That's what they say, which
Yeah.
chances are they're going to fill up. So, you guys be ready to roll. All you need to do is you need to be able to prove that you live in Creek County in order to participate in that. So, that's happening this weekend. I know if you're like me and you did the 500-mile yard sale, maybe, which I did not, but if you did a lot of running around, which we did you guys actually, we didn't get to talk about that. Did you do
I
any
know.
sales?
We went and looked a little bit, but actually, other than that, the kids had other things they wanted to do. So we ended up at the lake. We went
That's
fishing,
nice.
and then we ended up at a Drillers game.
Okay.
And if you saw it, we were on their Facebook page.
I did not see that. You were on the Drillers Facebook
Mhm.
page? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So they took our family photo after we got our free hats, and then if you were watching their stories, they recorded us walking in, and it was pretty
Oh,
cool.
that's cool. Are those just the hats that say Tulsa on them? Those are some cool looking
Yeah.
hats. That's actually how I knew you'd been at the game because I saw the Tulsa hats and you can kind of see the stadium seating and stuff.
Oh,
It was
okay.
neat because we were at the game on Saturday. I told you
Hmm.
that, which was Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
And a bunch of Star Wars nerds out there were at the game. It was great. You wouldn't think Star Wars and baseball would mix, but it does
They did.
sometimes. It
Yeah.
was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a great time. And they won. It was great. Did they win the
They
game?
did not.
Who did they play? Do you remember?
San Antonio,
San
the same
Antonio.
team. Mhm.
Okay. So you went on which day?
Sunday.
Sunday. Okay. So they beat them on Saturday.
So there was a family sitting behind us that had went on Saturday,
Right.
and I think they had season tickets because the
Okay.
way they were talking, like they were just there all the time.
Uh-huh.
And so the game started off pretty much the same way, and then the Drillers came back and were about to take the lead, and we lost by one.
Oh man. And they won by one in the Saturday game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, San Antonio was starting to come back.
Hmm.
We had a fantastic home run that I think brought in all the bases and that put it up like 4-1. Then they were starting to come back, and we got it to 5-4 by the time that San Antonio was the last at bat, and they didn't.
Nice.
And so it actually ended at like the top of the ninth or whatever you'd say.
Hmm.
And it was great though. It was fun. It was uh, good time. And there were fireworks. Did you guys have fireworks after? Oh, that's
Sunday's a
fun.
1 o'clock game, so it's a day
Okay, it's a
game.
daytime game.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's still good.
Yeah.
That way you can get them home to bed
It
in
was
time.
hot.
Was it?
It was so hot. Yeah.
Ours was nice and cool, actually. It was great baseball weather. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was pretty warm. I had spent the whole rest of the Saturday working at the theater,
Oh,
getting our storage shed replaced. So it was a nice break from the weekend. Um, yeah, I love Drillers
mhm.
baseball. It's fun. Okay, so bottom line on that is if you did the 500-mile yard sale and you need to get rid of your stuff, go to the county free dump day to take care of that. That'll be happening over at the Creek County Fairgrounds. All you got to do is prove that you live in Creek County. Okay, let's get to the big topic for today, the main topic of today's show. Um, I am. I've been sitting here getting a really good education in what it takes to make this happen. So let's talk about brief history. If you guys are not familiar with what happened with Sapulpa fireworks and why we haven't had one in several years. Um, American Heritage Bank was the premier community sponsor for this. They paid for everything, I think, and they did it for like 20 or 25 years. Is that right?
They started in like 77.
Okay. Okay. So maybe not quite that much, but it was, I mean, a long time. They
Yeah, I think
don't know math. What's
I had talked to Tammy, and I know that for sure. Tammy took it on in 97.
okay.
So
77 is when they started. They did it a long time. Did you say
I
that?
think
77?
so.
Wow. That's a
I
long
think so.
time.
We spoke with American Heritage Bank as we were talking about the fireworks and things like that. And so um, Tammy gave us a lot of history. She was the head of that committee that ran the fireworks in Spolpa. And so I know she took it on in 97. It was happening before. I guess the city had partnered with somebody and there was fireworks, and then there was some type of like economy dropout, and so fireworks went away, and then American Heritage stepped in. Tammy stepped in 97, and then she ran that committee all the way in until 2020. And then with COVID, things happened, and that fireworks show was actually canceled. And when that fireworks show was canceled, American Heritage kind of took that into consideration on
Mhm.
and everything that this required and what it required of them and their employees and what it required of those around them and those that they were having help them. And so at that time, fireworks did go away. And then it was just shortly after that the idea of the Christmas shoot was born. And so American Heritage had, kind of just went a different way and being a different community partner, but still being a community partner in a big way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like they stepped out of being
Mm-mm.
involved in the community at all. In fact, I would even say that maybe this is the even bigger impact because, I mean, it's a longer span of
Yeah.
time. It gave us notoriety
Hmm.
on a world stage, really, that we didn't have with the fireworks show. But yeah, I did the quick math on that. If they started in like 77 or something, I mean, we're talking like 40 years that they were running that.
I think so. I think their shirts say like, because they always had a shirt and a poster, and like it was
Like the
a really big
38th
deal.
annual or
Yeah.
something. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's cool. Okay, so anyway, so over the last few years, and you guys will remember we had the drone show that
Hmm.
Paragon would bring by, and that was pretty cool. Not going to have that again, probably. So people started asking, "Hey, can we bring fireworks back?" After COVID subsided, and the Christmas shoot is awesome, but hey, that's a wintertime thing. And I feel like Oklahoma, especially, is like really patriotic and we love our fireworks shows, right? I
Hmm.
mean, you can throw a stone and hit a fireworks show
Yeah.
happening anywhere in Oklahoma. And so people wanted to start bringing that back. And then I'm sitting here talking with Lucy about it, and she starts to tell me what all is involved with this because they've been tasked with this. It was brought up at the city council meeting
Mhm.
on Monday. And I think there's a company that you guys are talking to about the possibility of doing it. We've got a price tag for it. But the actual undertaking of this thing is so much more than what I even thought it was. So, Lucy, help educate our public on what it actually takes to do something like that.
Yeah, so we have sat down with Tammy and some other of the committee that actually did the fireworks show for so many years, and kind of just asked them, what did this look like for you? And so when we've heard from a couple different people, the amount of time, you start setting up the day before the show, then during the day of the show, there's still more prep and things going on, and then after the show, fireworks are done, everyone goes home. And then the next day, just the amount of debris and trash and things like that, that not only come from the fireworks, but also in having an event like that. And so when sitting down talking to them, they say, yeah, it's a 20-minute show, but it is a 3-day um, hands-on working commitment. And that doesn't take into consideration you have, obviously, we have found a company that can do it, but you have to negotiate these contracts and you have to, work out setup time and closing down time. And then, you have certain, shell sizes. And then with those shell sizes, you have to clear out your watching area. Your viewers have to be so many feet away. And then on top of that, you have to make sure that you're so many feet away from houses and other businesses and things like that. Um, and then when you think, oh, for every inch of shell, you have to be 40 feet away from a home. And so you start putting that into consideration. But what you don't even think about, even in that conversation, is when that, shell goes in the air and it explodes, it is still going to land in those areas, even though they're far away. So then you have the trash and debris to clean up of that. Um, so yeah, it's a lot. As we started getting tasked with this, not only from the community, can we bring it back? What would that look like? And then, of course, we have, you know, there at the city, and we have city council and all them, like, hey, yeah, what does it take?
Hmm.
And so, you're looking at typically 50 volunteers to put on something like this. And on top of that, you're looking at 20 to 25 police officers. Um, and your first response team is going to also consist of your firemen. And with any response team, you also have to have ambulance. And so bringing those first aid responders in and having them on the ground, but also within your crowd. And so, um, these are just some of the small things,
Small things.
that you have to take into consideration. You also have to figure out, where is everyone going to park, um, to make sure that they can see the show, and how do they get into those parking spaces, and how do they get out of those parking spaces, to create not to keep out the chaos
Yeah.
essentially. And then, as these fireworks are going off, where do you put them? If we followed suit and did them exactly where they previously did, then you're looking at, closing off some roadways. You have to close off Taft, and you would have to close off Highway 66. Those areas have to be closed down while the fireworks are going off. And then, so that is, more police personnel. So it is a lot, and there's a lot that goes into these things. Um, Probably a lot more, truthfully, even as somebody that volunteered as an American Heritage fireworks show helper, um, you still don't even see the full context of what's going on, because there's so many parts of town that are affected by the fireworks show, that when you are stationed in one area, um, you don't even know what's happening in the other area, to be quite honest. So we did bring it to city council on Monday night. We had some discussions with city council on what it looks like and what is required in order to make this happen. And at the end of it, honestly, city council tabled it. And so we will be having some more discussions at the next city council meeting. But I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. I just know that it is a lot of
It's a
work.
lot, yeah. I don't think you quite mentioned this, but I think most of us who see it, it is a fantastic show, and I have great memories from
Mhm.
summertime going out there and hanging out and visiting the booths and stuff that are setting up and getting my free American Heritage little frisbee, and then watching a fantastic show and being able to have a 20-minute drive home because that's how long it took to get out of the parking lot or something. But um, great memories. But for us, for most of it, it's a 20-minute fireworks show. But for you and the city and the volunteers and everybody else, I mean, you're talking like what, 3 days or
Mhm.
something? And I realize they get paid like holiday pay and stuff if you're fire or police.
Mhm.
And I mean, it's an expense,
Mhm.
a much bigger expense than probably most of us would consider. Um, so anyway, yeah, thanks for that. The other thing, it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but when we have to reserve our police and our ambulance and stuff, like we have to hold them on site. So that means they can't leave and go to another call. Like
Right.
reserves or somebody else has to go handle that, right?
So you would have to use some reserves, because obviously reserves can't get in a car and go to an incident outside of that. So we would have to pull in some reserves for an event like this. But yeah, I mean, you have to have a response ready team there on site. And then you also have to from there, have traffic control, but you also have to have patrol out on the streets. I mean, we can't abandon the rest of the city.
Right.
Now, granted, most of the city will be there
Okay.
at the fireworks show, but you do still have others that aren't attending, or people driving through town to get, truthfully, if you're going from Tulsa to Kiefer, like you're still traveling through Sapulpa, and we still have to have police prepared for just your every night drivers. So it is a lot,
It's a lot.
but it is something that is being talked about and discussed, and we will see where it goes.
Okay. I would highly recommend that. I know there are several of you guys that I know personally, I've spoken to, who are interested in seeing something like this come back. But I think in order to do so, they would definitely need a group or some folks to step up in the volunteer department to pull something like this off. The city does not have the staff to accommodate something like this. American Heritage Bank did it, but I mean, that was their bank employees that were out there doing it. And so they could pull from that. And they're not going to be doing that anymore. So if you're interested in this and something you want to possibly contribute to, what do you think would be the best way for someone to say, hey, I'd be willing to volunteer for something like this?
Yeah, if you are interested in like taking it on, or getting involved in the conversations, definitely reach out to me. You can find me at City Hall. You can message me through Micah, or just call me, and we will definitely sit down and talk to you about it, and the logistics, and if your business or um, your group or your nonprofit, or whoever you are, like if you are interested and you guys want to get involved, we would love to have a conversation with you. I'm not going to say that the city is saying absolutely no fireworks, because I would be lying if I said that. I will say there's a lot of conversation and a lot of people want to have it, but it's trying to figure out how does it work and how does it happen.
Understood. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot. Well, thank you very much for that very good educational experience there. I hope you guys enjoyed the new documentary portion of our show that we're doing now. Uh, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to do something every week, or to be like, learn more about how the backside of Sapulpa. That doesn't sound right. The behind the scenes of Sapulpa. Sapulpa's backside. That's funny.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, thank you for that. That was a good educational experience. We appreciate that. And if there's more, I will say that if there's more of these types of events, and maybe you're interested in learning more about what happens behind the scenes and how the business of the city runs, then let us know, because we will dig into that. Some of that is actually kind of interesting to share, and it's always good to learn more about how these things work, so that you know how they work. And sometimes like whether or not to complain about them, you know.
Yeah.
Like I don't complain about it as much as I used to now that I know how things work.
Yeah. So I will say, Micah, you are giving a nice little plug.
Oh,
The city of Sapulpa will be releasing a City of Sapulpa How the City Works.
oh, that's funny. I
Um,
didn't know that.
and so that will be kicking off this month. And so you can follow our Facebook pages, where we will dig into all kinds of things,
They
including
can think that I
all
on
of your
purpose.
departments. That was awesome. I was just sitting here and I was like, we have started recording already. And so those will be launching here shortly.
We've got some kind of ESP kind of thing going on, because that's not the first time that's happened either, where I was completely unaware that something was going on, and then I end
Yeah,
up letting the cat out of the bag somehow. So anyway, good job.
it's
Okay,
great.
cool. All right, good. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into the Time Loop Live today. I hope that you guys have a great week. And don't forget to sign up for the free email that goes out. All the events and stuff that we didn't get to talk about today, because I don't have them. We've got stuff happening, but that's going to be in the email that comes out later today. So you guys be looking for that. Go subscribe at sapulpatimes.com/subscribe. And we will see you guys again on Free Coffee Friday at the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you then. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.